Law number 4, always say less than necessary. Silence is a very powerful weapon in times of war. It leaves the enemy vulnerable because they cannot determine what your next move is. 48 Laws of Power. Deontay Wilder reportedly depressed and suffering in the same mental space as Anthony Joshua after his loss to Tyson Fury in the rematch. And we're going to discuss that right here. Smash the like button. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, oh my God, to this day, is reportedly somehow depressed because he lost to Tyson Fury. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest. Now I'm going to jump right into it. There was the podcast with DAZN, and as you guys see in the title, them along with other boxing media from The Athletic, they discussed the mental state of Deontay Wilder after loss. This right here is a clip from The Athletic's Lance Pugmire and what he said Wilder is currently going through after the Fury 2 loss.
No reason to believe that it won't take place. It's just a matter of when. It is odd, Chris. I mean, we both know Deontay Wilder very well. And to me, it's stunning. Like, I mean, it used to be no big deal to be able to reach out to his camp and get him on the phone for whatever subject was going on in the sport. And now he's unavailable. Now he's, almost in hiding and being very reclusive. And that's not who Deontay Wilder is. So that's a little bit concerning. How has this loss affected him? And it's almost like, I'm not saying it's anywhere near the level of depression that Tyson Fury went through after he defeated Klitschko, but you could maybe guess that there is some kind of depression going on with Deontay Wilder, this huge blow to his ego, and having to be now so humble in defeat about what has happened, because he was truly beaten down in this fight. And not a lot of people are accepting those excuses that he came up with afterwards. So how it plays out is going to be very interesting. He's going to have to talk definitely within the next 2 months, because he's going to have a fight to be selling.
Wow. So that was The Athletic's Lance Pugmire suggesting that Deontay Wilder is going through a metamorphosis, and he was beaten so badly by Fury that, he now has to come correct, and he has been humbled. And this whole conversation, it sounds crazy, but there's a little bit more I want you guys to hear, and then I'll give more of my thoughts.
Media and basically trying to chide him, sounding like he's, try to get him into the ring. Do you have any reason to believe that we won't see a third fight between Fury and Wilder?
No reason to believe that it won't take place. It's just a matter of when. It is odd, and having to be now so humble. How it plays out.
Rush, but does any of your reporting indicate there could be any kind of hang up or any kind of possibility that we don't see Wilder except that immediate third fight with Fury?
No, I don't think that it won't be related to Deontay Wilder if the fight does not happen by the end of this year. What could stop it from happening by the end of this year is whether fans can attend the fight, because as you guys well know, they did a $17 million gate roughly for the rematch, and they're not going to have this fight without fans in attendance because they can't afford it. Everyone lost money on the rematch. So they're not going to put themselves in position for that to happen again. But I have not been given any indication, although I have not spoken to Deontay Wilder personally since I believe it was 2 days after the fight, when he told me and Lance and a lot of other people all these reasons why he thinks he lost. I do think, though, that he, and I understand what Lance is saying about him, it was a blow to his ego for sure, and I'm sure it's been difficult to deal with his first loss and everything. But I think he was genuinely hurt by the backlash that he received from what.
Wow. Talk about way off the mark. Now, it's looking bad for old media. I tell you guys that all the time on my channel, and new media, the way of the future. My thoughts, I know this is rubbish. I know it to be a fact. I know people, let's just say, that are connected to Wilder, and I've spoken with them before this podcast was even created or recorded, and they told me Wilder's chilling. Wilder's in good spirit. you guys remember there was like, I think it was 4th of July or something. There's this video of Wilder he was with his family and friends, and they're having a barbecue or get together or whatever, cookout, and Wilder was dancing. And I remember old media tried to make this into like video worthy, like, oh, Wilder's twerking, and that was it. It was all about Wilder. So it shows you the popularity of Wilder. Everybody seems to be concerned with Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, but trust me, you guys, you can trust me. You don't have to trust me. It's up to you. But I know people in this boxing game, and they confirmed to me Wilder's chilling. You see this picture of him, and Wilder says, you won't know if you don't go. It's a dope meditation vibe all day by itself. Dope vibes, certified diver. This is 5 days ago. So this is before that podcast was even created. And Wilder, he was just enjoying the water. Wilder was enjoying the water, going diving. He's a certified scuba diver, and he's just enjoying it. You can see he's in shape. I made a video about that. Dillian White was knocked out. Some people believed that this was about Dillian White. He believed in Glaz at Glaz. He didn't really say or put Dillian White's name or tag him, but that represents eye for an eye in Russian. Very cryptic, very subliminal, if you will. But he looks in shape. He looks like he's chilling. And I started off with that quote that you guys see and heard at the beginning. And that was the 48 Laws of Power. Robert Greene, excellent book. And I'm going to repeat it. Law 4, always say less than necessary. Silence is a very powerful weapon in times of war. It leaves the enemy vulnerable because they cannot determine what your next move is. And that is Deontay Wilder all the way right now. Me personally, I like the fact that he's being silent after for that reason. You have to understand strategy. You have to understand the art of war. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with Tyson Fury. Glovegate 1 and 2 came out after the second fight. A lot of people feel that Tyson Fury, something was up with his glove, right? Wilder's brother came out and said his brother has a dent in his head, right? So I never took it as Wilder's going through this depressive state or, he can't hack it because he's now been humbled and all this weird stuff. I actually prefer what Deontay Wilder is doing to Dillian White, because let's look at it. Dillian White lost in from a boxing fan standard and a boxing standard, a more embarrassing fashion. Dillian White was knocked out and floored with a single shot, knocked unconscious, and fell like a statue through the ropes. Yet he's getting on all these interviews days later saying, oh yeah, I learned quick. I want a rematch, please. That looks worse to me, because I don't really prefer to hear, me personally, this is my personal taste, I don't prefer to hear a fighter who took that type of blunt force trauma days later pushing for a rematch in 2-3 months. That means you have to jump right back in camp. No time to heal. It should be mandatory 6 to 8 months, if not a year, rest when you take that type of concussive blow. I don't know about the UK, but in America, you will be suspended when you get knocked out like that for usually 90 days. So you want a rematch with the guy that did that because you feel you can beat him and you feel you are up on the scorecard. You want a rematch just like that? I don't like that. But what I do like is Deontay Wilder. He's posted a couple things. He just hasn't been super vocal. And I like that silence from Wilder, because just like the 48 Laws of Power suggest the art of war, it leads people to speculate. And that's exactly what you're seeing with DAZN and The Athletic and everybody on that podcast. And they couldn't be any more wrong. Like I said, this is Wilder also after the knockout. This was May 26th. He's on his chopper. He's on his bike. I've seen videos of Wilder and his brother shooting. I've seen videos of Wilder in the back countries or his backyard or wherever he's at, and he's shooting his pistols and his weaponry and stuff like that. And I know sources, we'll leave it at that, Wilder's chilling. So this is just a random guess from a podcast that you have to be cautious of where you get your information from. But I can tell you from all indication, it's nothing to do with him being depressed. Why would you be depressed if a lot of people believe, look at Fury's glove, even in this picture, you see how it's like concaved in and it looks flattened? Why would you be depressed if you feel a man had to cheat to beat you? You know? And the great Andre Ward once told me this. He says, I don't want to be one of them guys that just lust for the fame and just talk to be talking. He said, when I talk, I want it to mean something. I want it to mean something. So you don't see me. I don't have to respond to everything. I don't have to be all on social media like rah, rah, rah. I do a lot of my talking in the ring. And then when I do talk, I want it to mean something. So I think Wilder is in the same lane. He's a dude from, see, and there's a lot of people that don't understand the culture, and old media is definitely that. They always speculate and say, oh, it's excuses and this and stuff. You don't understand the culture, because if you understand the culture, you understand that this man, Deontay Wilder, is from the country. He's a Southern boy. And just how they say Southern hospitality, one thing you have to understand is like Deep South and Southern boys, a lot of times, no matter how successful they get, they don't necessarily need all that extra attention and always in the limelight. I remember specifically, I spoke with Errol Spence Jr. at a fight, and Errol Spence Jr. was basically, I have it on video. Errol Spence Jr., a boy from Texas, right? Errol Spence Jr. was basically saying that he don't really even like doing media outings and, you know, a bunch of press, but he understands as he gains popularity, as he blows up, it's part of the game, and it's part of, you know, it comes with the territory to make you a superstar. If you want the money and, you know, take care of your family, sell pay-per-views and stuff, it's an obligation that you have to. But a lot of dudes like that come from the South, where they're not in love with the camera per se, where they just have to be seen and heard and stuff like that. And that's why you've seen Errol Spence ever since his accident. He's been a lot. He just pops in when he wants. He pops in when he wants. Very low key stuff like that. He just peeks his head in, talks about boxing, but he has a whole farm and he's spending time with his daughters and his family. He's getting ready for the Danny Garcia fight. And I talked to Derek James too, Errol Spence's trainer, and he said the same thing. Like, Errol Spence don't need a bunch of cameras in his face. He probably prefer not to. Like, he keeps his circle small, and for a reason. And we've always known Deontay Wilder to be the same way. So it's the misinformation is crazy from that podcast. It's almost laughable. Wilder, he told you this when he was beefing with Brazil. Brazil was claiming he had this huge entourage, and Deontay Wilder said, oh my God, anybody that knows me knows I don't travel in with a pack of people. Like, I keep my circle small. He has Chris and a few other people from Team Wilder, if that. Sometimes it's just Wilder and Chris, and they'll be, you know, parting the Red Sea through the crowd, just pretty much dolo with two people. So Wilder's always moved like that. But as he got bigger, he did more interviews. And it's really a pompous attitude from old media to suggest and surmise that Deontay Wilder, because he's not answering the phone and he's not giving out a bunch of his time, that he's depressed. That's not it at all. I think he's going to talk when he wants to talk. You know, he's in charge. He runs the clock, and and to be honest, Wilder's doing it right. Here's why. This is why Wilder's doing it right, because when the grass is cut, to snakes is show. But I got to thank the little homie Nas for that, though, saving me the hassle of speaking to half these assholes. Just like Hove said, like Jay said, when the grass is cut, the snakes is show. When the grass is cut, the snakes will show. So you get to see who's in your corner. You see with the media who's just using you for the clout and the viewership and stuff like that. You see who your real supporters are. You see, and I think Wilder's just working that out. Like, I've heard different stories about possibly feeling there was moles and people in place that didn't have his best interest. So he's figuring that out. So when the grass is cut, he's letting people talk, let people say what they want, let people do videos about him. And he ain't saying nothing. But that's how a king moves. You don't have to broadcast every move. He don't have to give you an interview. Listen, from my knowledge, Wilder's cool with my channel. I ain't reached out to him, you know, personally to even try to set up an interview. But if he don't want to give me an interview, then he don't want to give me an interview. Or if he don't want to talk at that given moment, he could be doing stuff, spending time with family, clearing his head. You know, they don't mean he's depressed. But I'm not taking it no type of way. But you have people in the media who they seem so, offended that Wilder's not freely giving out interviews, right? Nobody got a Wilder interview. Nobody. The only people that got a Wilder interview since the fight was PBC. I think they had on his podcast. He said he felt like a zombie, and he ain't said nothing since. We're in a pandemic as well. This man has a whole family. He has a lot of kids and stuff like that. He don't have to give no interviews. He could just work on the business, get the fight over the line, do whatever he's doing. But you see people's true colors. They coming out, people saying he's depressed and speaking on behalf. How is he depressed and you ain't seen no videos of him, minus a few Instagram things and a dance video, twerk or whatever, one podcast interview with his company. So how you know he's depressed? That you just made that up. There's no way you could decipher that. So you think because he ain't doing interviews with anybody that he got to be depressed? Why can't he just be chilling? You know what I'm saying? When I turn up for the cameras too. When I'm on live streams and then people see me at the fight, do this impression. I don't feel like doing an impression. Just because I do impressions, I'm getting paid for this. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna turn up for the camera, but I'm an extrovert introvert, and it's a real special position to hold. I know when to turn up, and I could be an extrovert, but sometimes I'm introverted and I want me time. I want space. I'd rather be by myself. You see what I'm saying? People get it, like Johnny Depp. He's another person. You see him in a role, he can do Captain Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean and these crazy Willy Wonka type roles. But then when it comes to his personal life, he's chilling. Same thing with Denzel. You don't really hear about Denzel, in the tabloids and this and that and out there like that. And throughout his career, like when he's doing movies like Ricochet. Yeah, okay, I'm putting the gun down nice and easy. Nice and easy. Now, the only weapon I got is useless unless you're a pretty girl. Huh? You never heard about a bunch of smut about Denzel Washington. Some people are like that, but give him a role like Training Day. Jake! Yeah, okay. I didn't know you like to get wet, though. Sherm, Dust, BCP, Primo, butt naked. That's what you at. He's going to kill the role. And I think Wilder's like that. And if you actually understand the culture and where he comes from, Wilder don't need a bunch of hype men and a bunch of entourage with him and stuff like that. So I don't see nothing with depression. Wilder was selling fights because we weren't in a pandemic and he had an active schedule. So of course he's going to turn up for the camera and show you the charisma. But again, if you know where Wilder's from, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, oh my God, you'll know he don't have to do that 24/7. Same thing with Errol Spence. Errol Spence knowing to turn up. Sean Porter, you fight like an inside street fighter. You fight like you drowning. Man down. But he's not always like that. And that's what you have to respect about people. So I like what Wilder's doing. Shh. Don't say nothing. Don't do no interviews until you want to do interviews. Listen, Wilder is new media. I told you. I've said that for a while. He is new media because new media, we do what we want. We act when we want. We said new media, we control the narrative. Wilder's chilling. He don't always have to be in front of the camera. He don't always have to be in your face. When we're not in the pandemic, you've seen him. He with the Pope, he doing this, he that, he out there more. But there's only so much that anybody could even be doing with the pandemic. Unless you have a fight, why he got to be all up in your face unless his fight is announced? You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to figure out the logistics. No crowd. Can they fight? Whoop, whoop. You know what I mean? He don't have to be in your face. And I think that's how it's always been. The reason why he was in your face and doing these interviews and accepting people's call is because he had a job to do, and we weren't in a pandemic. Now that we're in a pandemic, that slows it down. And then the introverted side of Wilder, spend time with family, shoot your guns and rocket launchers and flamethrowers. Now you're seeing that more. So it don't have nothing to do. I'm telling you, it don't have nothing to do with it. He got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain. That's right, ho. Bro, he got a bad wifey. He got life outside of boxing. You see what I'm saying? He don't have to be all up in your face smiling. And people now, like I said, true colors are coming out. You seeing people, they feeling the type of way because he ain't answering the call. The WBC, allegedly, reportedly, Wilder ain't really responded to them. He ain't really been fielding their calls. Let the man live. In the words of Hove, I keep quoting Hove in this video, but it all makes sense. Can I live? And the evils Let the man live. He don't have to be all up in your face screaming bomb squad. See, and I really, this is what gets me. There's a lot of people with old media, they don't understand the culture. They think black people in general, African-American people, this is always going to be Wilder screaming like he just got to be doing that 24/7. That's not how this works. It's not always going to be and yelling and stuff. Maybe he wants to kick it with his kids and teach them something. They might not be in school. They might have to do homeschooling. He fuck your interview. You know what I mean? He don't care about that right now. It's crazy. But I think this is the whole situation, losing the Fury. This is a great thing for Wilder, because when the grass is cut, the snakes will show, and you get to see. You see people you've done interviews with making stuff up about you, people saying you depressed, people saying you in the headspace of Anthony Joshua. Wilder is not even built like Anthony Joshua, no pun intended. But I don't think his mental makeup is anything like Joshua. So it's like, I tell you all the time, the most dangerous thing is a camera and a microphone. And you see that people getting caught up with what they say and coming back and like contradicting themselves. You see everybody see the great thing. I pioneered this boxing in a digital space and made this pop and made people want to talk boxing, not just film weigh-ins and stuff like that, but actually talk and break down boxing. But the problem is I inspire so many people to do this, and people see there's a future in it and there's money in it. Everybody got a podcast. But the thing is, boxing, like Roger Mayweather said, most motherfuckers don't know about boxing, and they showing the don't. And that's the crazy part about it. People going out and saying all this stuff, and everyone has a platform or a Spotify podcast and stuff, but a lot of people ain't popping like that. They not new media. They ain't wavy like us. They're not the same with. They're saying what they want. You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand, bro. You got to understand, different people move different. I think a lot of people don't understand Wilder. They see this and stuff. He's turned up for the camera. He's a Southern boy at heart. You know what I'm saying? Look, he's scuba diving and shooting guns and stuff. This is his natural element. You see what I'm saying? This is his natural element. He's doing the other stuff because he has to put on a show, and he does have that side. So it's a beautiful thing to be multifaceted in this world. And that's all this is. I don't think it has jack-ish about him depressed or going through it over Tyson Fury. Again, there's a lot of people think Tyson Fury cheated. He's not depressed over that. And he didn't get embarrassed like Dillian White, where he got knocked unconscious. He was on his feet. He didn't even want the towel thrown in. So I think Wilder is going to break a lot of hearts when he comes back. And a lot of people are going to be, pushed out. But we'll see. New media. Let me know what you guys think. People, they'll say whatever they want. Everyone's a psychiatrist and doctors. How is a person depressed? This is my last question. I'm going to leave y'all with this. How do you know someone's depressed and you ain't even talked to them? And they ain't really been posting or showing you anything. Like, I can understand if he was putting all these depressed Kurt Cobain quotes or something like that, but he barely even posting. So you just guessing. Look, he's depressed from what? Because he said he's going scuba diving? Because he says, I believe in eye for an eye? What are we basing it? Very black and proud? Love yourself? Where's the depression? What is this based off of? Look, he looked depressed there. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, man. All praises to the Most High. What are we basing it? Because he did a photo shoot? Because he with his family and kids and stuff? And he said, happy Juneteenth? If you haven't talked to him, he did this rap. That was dope too, by the way. Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Big George Floyd, now Jacob. Yeah, luckily he still has his life, but his quality of life changes. Like Little Morning Ride, like he's chilling, a strong black man coming through. Wilder gonna have to show y'all again that he is just that, a strong black man. But yeah, man, it's just pure conjecture and speculation. And I would have never put that on wax because you ain't talked to him. If you ain't talked to him, you don't know what's going on through his mind. Because he ain't giving you an interview don't mean he's depressed. That's game.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind the scenes, docuseries like Bruce Lee's Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, "Hi, I'm Mike Tyson, come and watch my fight." Floyd Mayweather, "Easy work, I'm rich." And Manny Pacquiao, "Yes, it's up to my promoter." Just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All 3 apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego, signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.